Welcome to 10 Minutes With, and today we have a very special guest. We're here in a special guest from Turkey, Dr. Amin Talab. Did I pronounce that well?
That's all right.
That's all right. Well, and here he has a certain face, that's all right. And now I'm already thinking, well, I'm here in Turkey. Am I doing all right? What about the culture? Because that's what we're going to talk about. You've written a book. In a few words, Dr. Amin, what is it about?
Well, I'm helping people to get better in negotiating. So most of the time people are negotiating in a globalized world with other cultures, with other countries, with corporations from other countries as well. So it's about how to negotiate better if you want people to do what you need them to do.
And is this about negotiations with everyone in the whole world?
Actually, it originated by a study that I made where I asked people from different cultures in different countries and many different corporations even with different industries, what is it that you need to become a master negotiator? So that's why the title is The Master Negotiator. And I found out that basically it's 6 strengths that you need, irrespective of the culture that you're working in, that would make you a better negotiator.
And could you share those 6 pillars? I mean, if we did not want to read the book, could you just share those 6 things with us?
Absolutely. I mean, the easiest way for you is to Google The Master Negotiator and my name. Then you'll find even a video online that would explain in 7 minutes exactly what those 6 strengths are. But, to make it quite easy, I have those picture of a house. And I try to put them even down into 3 different areas. And like every house, you have the foundation, which would be the personality. Then you have the house itself, the walls, that would be all the strategies and techniques. And then you have the roof with the process orientation and the goal orientation. So divided between those 3 things are the 6 strengths.
Okay, so we can watch the video. So we type in your name, or what do we type in if we want to find it? Because that's homework for us to do, and we will do that.
Actually, it's easy to do. Just go to www.masternegotiator.eu.
Master Negotiator. Well, that's just interesting. Well, we are with IFES. You're a guest here, and we're an International Federation of Exhibition Services. That's literally our name. We stand for sharing knowledge, and we're sharing knowledge on negotiations internationally. We, as companies, work internationally, and we have clients who work internationally. Well, we're in Turkey now. What is, if we come here, what can we expect? And what is a little bit, I mean, things are different, things are alike and similar, but what is like a typical Turkish thing?
Well, let me maybe correct one more thing for the audience to start with. I'm not Turkish. So that's
interesting, yeah.
That's maybe interesting. I've been listening to the intro session of IFES just before here in Istanbul, and I've been talking to a lot of people. And what strikes me as very interesting, not only in your question now, but always when you go to fairs and trade shows, is that one of the first questions that you're getting is where you're coming from. So people automatically take out their cluster. They put you in there, you're Turkish, you must be like that. You're Austrian, you must be like that. You're American, you must be like that.
So where are you from?
I would say that's very difficult, and that's my answer. I cannot give you one country. What do you mean? What are my parents? Nationality? Where was I born? Where did I grow up? Where was I educated?
There's a whole story behind it.
There is a whole story behind it. I mean, you've probably read that I'm half Syrian, and my Viennese mother has Croatian and Slovenian parents, and I've been born in Vienna, but I've been a lot of my time in the US as a child. I've been influenced by the US culture quite a lot, and I've been traveling a lot of time to Syria, of course. I've been working in Geneva. I've been working in the US for quite a while. In my job now, I'm traveling mostly between the Middle East Asian countries, so MEA and CE, and it's very difficult to say you're coming from where, and that's defining how you have to be. So I would say that's a question like, how do you do? It doesn't mean anything. So if you get an answer there and you're stuck on that, then you think twice. And that's what I would say about the other question that you posed to me. What about a typical Turkish thing? We could probably get a list out now with 20 things that are very typical Turkish. but then who is the typical Turkish man or Turkish woman? That's difficult to say. We do have some scales actually that help us, and I mean, you come from the Netherlands, I think, or at least you have a big influence here. That's what you, yes, that's what you told me. So we're basically also kind of from the same culture. We're both European in a way. If I, you know, given that I do have a European side, and the Netherlands have brought out some very big names in intercultural communication, like Gert Hofstede, for example, who is a huge name and has done a lot of research, an interesting research. So these things help us to better understand. And if you would take anything to better understand how to deal with Turkish people, I would take some of his parameters. And I would especially use the difference between low risk, not low risk, you say, low context and high context cultures, not to mix up with unavoidance, risk unavoidance. Okay.
I hear you talk about high context culture and low context culture. Could you please elaborate a little bit more on that?
There are different concepts of how to understand culture better, and one that I personally like a lot is coming from Edward T. Hall, and he differentiated between low context and high context cultures. And he packs in quite a lot of differences there between those two. So low context culture would mean that people would take most of the meaning out of what actually is being said. Let's take emails. You write an email there, you write exactly what you want, and it means nothing more, nothing less. High context cultures put a lot of the meaning out of the context. That's why it's called high context. So they have to look at the body language, they have to listen to exactly the pitch of the voice. It's about the setting, how you're sitting there, who came to whom, who was asked first, and they all factor that into the message. And so one thing that you say might be meaning a completely different thing. A typical example of a low context culture would be European countries, most of them, but especially the US. High context culture would be very Asian, but also Middle Eastern. Actually, we're in Turkey here. We have a split here. Turkey can have quite different areas, also depending on what religion and where they're seated. The European area would be more low context, and the Asian one high context. And you can see that actually I've been traveling Turkey quite a lot of times by car, from all the way here, Istanbul, all the way down to Syria, where my father is coming from. And you can already, when you do that travel, you can see how your language has to change for people to understand you. And also the body language changes already within that one country or culture. One of the worst questions I've heard is like, what culture are you from? What culture are you? What defines your culture? Because this would again put out the cultural classification. And what does it say to you if I've been born in Vienna? Would you then think that I'm waltzing better, or am I skiing, or what is it? I can't waltz, I'm not skiing. My German is okay, actually. But what else would that say to you? That I'm on time, because we're coming from a monochronous culture? Actually, I'm quite late, and quite often. I'm always what we call cum tempore, so always 15 minutes late. I guess that must be by my Arabic side then. So it's very hard to classify yourself with a culture, and even within a culture. I mean, take the US, one of the biggest areas we have, but you have that in China and in Russia too. Take West Coast, East Coast. Take New York City and Wyoming, or you know, any other two places, and compare them. You can't talk about one culture there. It's just impossible.
No, that is true. Well, I'm being from Holland. I do have the stereotypes, because everybody thinks that we walk on wooden shoes, we wear a flower in our head, and we smoke some stuff every day. So that is what happens all the time. Very interesting stuff we got from you. I think we have to read the book. We have to watch the video. But for now, thank you very much for shining a little light on this subject, and we were happy to have you here. And this concludes our 10 minutes with, and we're looking forward to the next episode.